It looks like Said Benrahma's agony at West Ham United could finally be over. Late last night, Olympique Lyonnais made a bid, finally made a move for the player by putting in a £15 million bid plus add-ons to sign the player in this January transfer window. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I did the West Ham Weekly on Monday night and said that it's unlikely we'll allow any other players to leave unless we bring players in. But it sounds to me that if we haven't accepted the deal yet, this is going out at something like 7:30 in the morning. So I dare say there's going to be more detail added to this story as the day goes by. So at this moment in time, we haven't accepted the deal, but I'm envisaging that we will accept a £15 million bid for Said Benrahma to go to Olympique Lyonnais in this window. Look, the news broke out late last night by The Athletic's David Ornstein. Apparently, Lyon owner John Textor is reported to be an admirer of the player and had followed him since his days at Brentford. But a £15 million bid with add-ons is likely to be seen quite favourably. He's also on around £60,000-70,000 a week in wages. So the total sort of return on this player, our outlay was about £25 million, give or take. £4 million, £5 million deal plus another 20 odd million when we signed him permanently. So if we let him go for 15 million, let's say we get another, say, 2-3 million in add-ons plus saving the wages that he's on, that could give us a return on the player of something like, I don't know, 18 million in total, 19 million. So we would lose around 6-7 million pounds. Okay, apart from wages, we would lose around 6 or 7 million pounds since signing the player back in 2019. But over the 3.5 years that we've had Benrahma, we've got some use out of him. We've got something back for our money. 155 appearances, 24 goals scored, 19 assists. I guess he was always Marmite with a lot of fans. You know, at one point he'd do something that you just be in awe of, and at other times you'd be scratching your head wondering what on earth he was doing. But he'll always be remembered, of course, for being brave enough to step up and take the penalty against Fiorentina in the Europa Conference League final last season. He's 28 years of age. He started his career in France. It looks like he can go back and continue it there, maybe even end it there. And I think it'll be a good move for him. I think, French football is perhaps a little bit slower, a little bit less physical. It'd be something that he could relish in. You know, he'll have more time to, do his skills, run up players, etc. And he'll probably be much more successful than he has been at West Ham. I know you could argue, well, how come he was successful at Brentford? And many people would argue he was successful at Brentford because they were in the Championship. Look, for me, I like the player. You know, I thought he could have done a lot more. I thought we could have got more out of him. It's such a shame that he would be going. But at 28, I guess we must be looking for he's 28. We must be looking for a player to come in to replace him a little bit younger. This, of course, follows on from the story the other day that we heard that Real Betis were planning a bid of £7 million bid for Pablo Fornals. Now, we all know that Fornals was brought to West Ham in 2019 for a fee of £25 million by current Betis manager, Manuel Pellegrini. In 203 appearances, Fornals has scored 23 goals, one less than Benrahma, and the same number of assists, 19. Now, to be quite honest with you, I thought that we would wait until the summer for this deal to go through. So it kind of wouldn't surprise me if we actually turn this bid down. And I'll explain why in a moment. He's another player that's on around £60,000-70,000 a week. Again, quite a bit of money can be saved on the wage bill. And the reason why I think perhaps the Fornals deal might not be allowed to go through is because there's interest from Nottingham Forest for a loan bid for Maxwel Cornet. Now, Forest have got to be careful, of course, because they're under FFP. They've been charged with breaking FFP rules, etc. So they're likely to be looking for a loan bid without any obligation to buy the player at the end of the season. Now, again, Cornet's money got a salary around about the same as Fornals and Benrahma. So there's another 70 grand a week that can be saved there. Look, if all players were to be looking, if West Ham were to be looking to allow all players to leave, there must be a plan to bring in one, maybe even two replacements. If all three players leave, we could recoup something like £25 million in transfer fees, and plus around another 5 million in wages. So that 30 million will enable West Ham to agree a potential permanent deal for one player, probably Jota, and with a little more investment on top, a loan for another player, probably Shaloba, in order to help shore up the defence. Now, if West Ham were to allow these players to leave and not bring in reinforcements, even with Calvin Phillips already coming to the club, it would leave us rather light in the squad for outfield players, including Divin Mbama would only have, or David Moyes will only have, 18 outfield players to choose from. If we were to pick up any injuries, any further injuries, that could leave us really light. And it will be memories of what happened 2 years ago, where not only did we have injuries to players, but we also didn't invest in the transfer window. We didn't bring any players in the transfer window. And the last thing we want is to allow all these players to leave. Already some other players have left as well, but more fringe players before. But if we were allowed for these three players to leave and not bring in any further reinforcements, we've only got to get one or two injuries to really, really suffer. Which is another reason why I think of the three, we will allow Cornet to go, we will allow Benrahma to go. But for me, it looks like Fornals might told to have to stay until the end of the season. Of the three, Moyes will have much more use for Fornals as a squad player than he would for Cornet, who's hardly got any game time anyway. And as we know, Moyes hasn't really gotten on too much with Benrahma, so I don't think Moyes will be too sorry to see Benrahma leave. And as I said, I think it's very, very likely that we must have someone lined up in order for Benrahma to be allowed to leave. And my money, as I said in the West Ham Weekly Show on Monday night, is Jota. So there you have it. There's going to be breaking news as we go along throughout the week until Thursday, until 11 o'clock on Thursday when the transfer window shuts. So look out for those. I'm sure there's going to be much, much more to hear about Benrahma as the day wears on. So look out for that as well. But that's the latest news. £15 million bid plus add-ons that was put in by Olympique Lyonnaise late on Monday night. I think it's very, very likely that West Ham United will accept this deal. And if they do, it's very, very likely that we've got a player lined up. And again, my money is on Jota. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all very soon.